This is Ken Kraetzer for cbsi Talking Business, our podcast interview series, talking with leaders in the field of digital marketing, banking, insurance, customer service, and business education, and all to highlight the great work of our team. We're based in Harrison, New York. We're taking care of customers now 50 years. It's our 50th anniversary year. And today we are really pleased to talk with Kerridge, who is the CEO of SeeTek Corporation in Orlando, Florida. And he's got a great new program that can help banks reach out to those Americans who do not live near where a bank branch is. Underbanked, it could be inner city America, it could be rural America. So really glad to hear about this program and meet Kevin. Kevin, how are you today?
Great, Ken. Thanks for having me. I appreciate being on your show.
Oh, good to see you. Now, maybe if you would tell our audience a little bit about your career and how it led up to SeeTek Corporation.
Well, I have quite a diverse background, all the way from manufacturing up through insurance and banking, POS software and banking software, as well as hardware. So that's how I got to this point. It's been an accumulation of experience over the last 45 years. And we've come up with Outer Banks.
Very good. Well, you've been working on something that a lot of the banks that we work with are trying to find ways to help, and that is to serve underbanked Americans. You note that it is as much as 164 million people, almost half the population, and it's grown in recent years. Why has this happened, the development of so many Americans who really don't have access to banking services?
Well, it's a combination of several factors. The traditional unbanked and underbanked group that were blacklisted out of the mainstream banking because of their poor bank history or no bank history or no credit history. And it could be new immigrants arriving as well without any kind of history. And then it's grown to include the unbranched group of people that are certainly bankable, but they've just lost their branch. And in some cases, people are having to drive 80 miles one way to a bank just to do their banking. So Outer Banks is basically a bank in a box. It's a fancy ATM that onboards people. And 5 minutes, you're onboarded, new bank account, debit card in hand, full forensic authentication on the person, their identification, and the check, satisfying all the OFAC rules, KYC, etc.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that your new program, Outer Banks, works is in this new category that you described as community-hosted financial services. And tell us a little bit about this concept that you're working with.
Sure, absolutely. So what we did was we went out into the communities and we looked at trusted merchants, we call them, merchants that are already trusted in that community by the unbanked, the underbanked, the bank challenged, as we call them. And you know, we're basically the same idea as an ATM, a bank's ATM in a grocery store. So when you walk in, you see that ATM, but in our case, we're an onboarding platform, and you get onboarded, and then you turn to an ATM to get your money or cash back, or use the card, the debit card at the point of sale. So that's one model. And the other model is simply going to small FIs, community FIs, that want to expand and don't want to spend $3 million on a new bank branch. And ours is a $40,000 solution. It's plug and play. We can install it under their shingle in a strip mall if they like, or they can turn around and perhaps take it to some of their merchants that they have as clients, grocery stores, rent to own, automotive, etc., bodegas perhaps, and see if they wanted to partner directly with their own merchant customers.
Yeah, now that brings to mind, now who can sponsor this program? A bank's got to be part of it because you're accepting deposits, but placement can be in a wide variety of, as you say, community locations. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, correct. So any bank can sponsor the terminal or a series of terminals, just like an ATM network. It's exactly the same umbrella. And it can be a small bank, a regional bank, a super regional, a federally chartered national bank. It takes us about a week of their bandwidth of IT to get them onboarded. We have a fantastic IT partner in M2 Corporation, which is global. They're right here in Orlando with us, and they're able to onboard a bank and auto reconcile with most of the popular bank back office systems out there.
Very good. And one of the big solutions you're trying to provide is basically acceptance of checks at a much lower cost than check cashing services for people who don't have deposit accounts. And then you're able to accept checks into these ATM-like machines and then provide funds on a debit card. Tell us a little bit about how that all happens.
Yeah, it's almost anticlimactic when you see the terminal run. It's a choreography between the operator. It's not self-serve, so there's an operator involved, whether it's the store cashier or the stock boy, quite frankly, can run the thing, and the customer on the other side of the terminal. So it's simply a case of, I'd like a new bank account. Here's my ID. We authenticate that identification. We don't just scan it, we authenticate it. We authenticate who the person is, their telephone number, they enter their social security number, we authenticate the check, and then we automatically issue a bank account from the sponsor bank and issue a debit card with PIN offset, etc. They sign for the terms and conditions, and that's about it. Unless you're talking, you can get it done in about 3 minutes.
Well, that's great. And then part of your program is you're providing a mobile app to provide convenience and also the ability to accept deposits right on the mobile phone. Tell us a little bit about some of the mobile app features and services.
Right. Once the person's onboarded, they can certainly come back to the store and do their shopping or whatever the case may be and deposit their check. But we provide a mobile app, which is presently running in 9 different countries. And on that mobile app, you have a plethora of financial services, money remittance, bill pay, cell phone top up, e-gift cards for sale, buy and sell is possible. We've got couponing on there, and it's really a mix and match type of menu. So our bank partner could say, well, we really like this, this, and this, and the financial coach, but we don't like, one other item, and we can drop those items and mix and match for the sponsor bank. And all of that can be wallpapered as well. It doesn't have to be just Outer Banks. It could be wallpapered the merchant. It could be wallpapered the bank.
Very good. Well, this certainly would extend the reach of banks into inner cities, perhaps, and also rural America. You pointed out to us that 3,320 banks closed in 2020 in terms of branches. And we see that as a trend as banks are moving towards different types of ATM service in place of branches. How do you see this as, it sounds like your program is really a way for banks to extend their reach and provide services, especially deposit of checks into a lot of places they're not. How do you see this really expanding across the country?
Yeah, extremely well. As a matter of fact, we've had most of the major national grocery stores and some regional and super regionals contact us. We're working with several banks right now. We're always open to work with more. It's really a plug and play terminal, and we can drop it into almost any situation. And even we have a mock-up we did for FEMA for emergency relief, where we can put these on trucks or trailers and drag them about and set them up in even churches, almost like the mobile blood bank does. So it's we're very much guerrilla banking. I like to say we're very fast on our feet, and we're small and quick. So we can get out to anywhere. We just need an address.
Yeah, and you have a bank. Yeah, you have a startup coming up very soon in April, and that'll get your program well underway.
Yeah, we're very excited about the feedback we've been getting from virtually everybody, and we have a small grocery chain in Alabama we're working with that has been very aggressive, and they operate in those bank deserts, and they're also connected to the National Grocers Association as we are. We've been working with the Georgia Food Association and just a ton of people, and I don't want to leave out any of the other sales channels that we're doing. But we're working with the Rent to Own Trib Group out of Atlanta, where we're working with some other groups as well in the charity realm of things. The Watts Community Center in LA. So we're really excited about the next steps here.
And talking with Kevin Kerridge, CEO of SeeTek Corporation, based in the Orlando, Florida area. And Kevin, you just mentioned a term that's a new one, but a very important one, a bank desert, a part of the country where there really aren't any bank branches or bank services available at physical locations, and that your program is addressing. How extensive is this bank desert? When you showed a map you have on your website, it looked like it's extensive in the southeast for one area.
Absolutely. Yeah. Traditionally, the Southeast and right over to California have been areas, hotbeds of the unbanked and the underbanked. The map that we're very lucky to get from the Innovations Group in Washington, D.C. is interactive. All the orange and red show the distressed zip codes, the population in those zip codes. And there's just a ton of information on our one website. But yeah, I mean, when you look at it, you would almost think that half the country now is covered in bank deserts. They're not uncommon even in Vermont, Hawaii, as a matter of fact, and downtown Chicago, downtown Orlando, downtown New York, any major city has certainly got a bank desert challenge.
I was telling you the story that I went to an event, a priest friend of mine's installation at a church in Harlem in Manhattan. And I got down there and the parking garage said cash only. And I had to find a bank for an ATM. And there really were no banks in that part of northern Manhattan. And I found an ATM in a grocery store, which I was able to utilize around the corner from the church. So Kevin, you have a lot of information on your website. Tell us a little bit about how interested organization banks can find out more information about your program.
Sure, absolutely. www.seetekcorp.com or www.myouterbanks with an X on the end.com, or they can simply call us. 1-833-GET-SWORD, and SWORD is our technology. That's what we call our software scan with optical recognition devices. So 1-833-GET-SWORD. We'll get you right to my sales guys.
Okay, very good. We appreciate the Independent Community Bankers Association of New York State for introducing us. And Jeff, final thought about your program?
Well, really, we've been talking about the unbanked and the underbanked and the bank challenge, but certainly we'll bank anyone. If you just wanted to have a secondary bank account where you didn't pull your mortgage from, you wanted to send your child off to school, we can certainly set that up under the spouse or the guardian or the parent. But anything you want, we can pretty much get it done for you.
Okay, well, Kevin Kerridge, CEO of SeeTek Corporation, great to talk to you today and hear about your new program to help those Americans, an extensive number, who really do not have access to banking services. Very important program you're working on.
Well, thanks, Ken. I really appreciate the time, and I appreciate John Wachowski very much for introducing us both.
Absolutely. And thank you. This is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services Talking Business. All to recognize our team at CBSI. We provide insurance-based programs for the credit card and payments industry, and appreciate our guest, Kevin Kerridge, today. And we'll see you again for another episode of CBSI Talking Business. Have a good day.